The water felt wrong from the moment we descended into the blackwater depths. I should have trusted that instinct, should have surfaced right then, told Dr. Sarah Chen and the others that something was off about this place. But I didn't. None of us did. We were too eager, too hungry for discovery to listen to the part of our minds that screamed warnings. The cave entrance had looked innocent enough from above, just another sinkhole in the Florida wilderness hidden beneath a canopy of Spanish moss and cypress trees. But as our 5-person team dropped through that first narrow shaft, the temperature plummeted, not gradually like you'd expect. All at once, as if we passed through some invisible barrier. "Jesus, it's cold," Danny Morrison muttered through his regulator, his voice distorted by the breathing apparatus. Our marine biologist wasn't one to complain, so when he mentioned it, we all took notice. Sarah's voice crackled through our communication system, calm and professional as always. "Stay focused. We knew the thermocline would be dramatic here." But this wasn't just cold. This was something else entirely. The water itself seemed thicker, more resistant. Each kick of my fins felt like pushing through syrup. And the silence. The silence was absolute. No fish, no plant life, just smooth limestone walls stretching down into perfect blackness. Lisa Park, our technical diving instructor, swam beside me with mechanical precision. Her movements were efficient, controlled, but I caught her glancing around more frequently than usual. Even she felt it, the wrongness. We descended for what felt like hours, though my depth gauge read only 200 feet. The narrow passage opened into a vast chamber, our headlamps revealing limestone formations that seemed to writhe in the shifting light. Stalactites hung like teeth from an enormous mouth, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we'd been swallowed. "This is incredible," Jamie Walsh whispered, already raising his underwater camera. "The formations are unlike anything I've seen." That's when I noticed the walls. At first, I thought the strange markings were natural, just mineral deposits or water erosion creating patterns in the rock. But as we swam closer, the truth became undeniable. Carved symbols spiraled across the limestone surface, crude but deliberate. They looked ancient, predating any known civilization in this region. "Sarah," I called through the comm system, "are you seeing this?" Her response was delayed, static-filled. "Copy that. Document everything." The symbols seemed to follow a pattern, repeating in sequences that made my head ache to follow. Some looked almost like writing, while others resembled diagrams, instructions, maybe. For what, I didn't want to know. Danny had drifted away from the group, drawn to something deeper in the chamber. I watched his light disappear around a curved wall, and a chill ran through me despite the thick neoprene protecting my body. "Danny, stay with the group," Sarah ordered, but her voice was fading, breaking apart. That's when our first real problem started. The communication system began failing, voices cutting in and out like a radio between stations. Then Lisa noticed her compass spinning wildly, unable to find magnetic north. My depth gauge flickered between readings that made no sense. One moment showing 300 feet, the next claiming we were at surface level. "Equipment malfunction," Lisa reported, but her voice was tight with something she wouldn't admit. "Fear." We pressed deeper, following Danny's light. The chamber narrowed again, forcing us single file through a passage barely wide enough for our tanks. Silt stirred up with each movement, creating thick clouds that swallowed our lights. I found myself relying on touch, following the guideline with gloved hands, trying not to think about what would happen if it broke. The passage opened into another chamber, larger than the first. Our lights revealed something that shouldn't exist. Structures. Not natural cave formations, but clearly artificial constructions. Stone blocks fit together with impossible precision, creating walls and corridors that extended beyond our light's reach. The architecture was wrong. Angles that hurt to look at, doorways that seemed taller in your peripheral vision than when viewed directly. "This isn't possible," Jamie breathed. Who could have built this? How deep are we? None of our instruments agreed. Some read 400 feet. Others claimed we were somehow ascending, despite swimming continuously downward. Time itself seemed fluid here, minutes stretching into hours or compressing into seconds. Sarah's voice crackled through the static. Something's not right. We need to. The communication cut off entirely. In the silence that followed, I became aware of a sound that shouldn't exist underwater. A low thrumming like a massive heartbeat echoing through the stone. The vibration moved through the water, through my body, settling into my bones. That's when we lost Danny. One moment his light was visible ahead of us, exploring what looked like a doorway carved into the structure. The next, it was gone, not gradually fading as he swam away, but extinguished instantly, as if something had simply switched it off. "Danny!" Sarah's voice was muffled, distorted. "Danny, respond!" Nothing. Lisa grabbed my arm, pointed to her air gauge. We were running low, burning through our supply faster than we should have been. The cold water, the stress, the impossible environment, everything was working against us. But worse than the dwindling air was what I saw moving in the darkness beyond our lights. Shadows. But shadows that moved independently, flowing through the water like liquid smoke. They seemed drawn to us, circling just outside our vision. When I turned my head to look directly at them, they weren't there. But in my peripheral vision, they writhed and danced, growing bolder. "We're leaving. Now!" Sarah's voice was sharp with command, but I could hear the edge of panic underneath. We tried to retrace our path, following the guideline back through the narrow passage. But the line was gone. Not cut or broken, simply absent, as if it had never existed. Our carefully planned route through the cave system had vanished. Jamie swam beside me, his breathing rapid and shallow through the regulator. I could see the wild whites of his eyes through his mask. He kept looking over his shoulder, as if something was following us. Maybe something was. The shadows were definitely closer now, no longer content to lurk at the edges of our vision. They moved with purpose, herding us deeper into the impossible structures. Every passage we tried led further down, further into the dark heart of whatever this place really was. That's when I understood the truth. This wasn't a cave system at all. It was something else entirely, something that wore the disguise of limestone and water. The Blackwater depths weren't just named for the dark water, they were literally depths of something beyond our world, a place where reality bent and broke. The carved symbols on the walls weren't ancient markings, they were warnings, instructions. Don't go deeper, don't follow the paths between the stones, don't let them see you. But it was too late for warnings. My air gauge read empty, but I was still breathing. Lisa's depth meter showed negative numbers. Jamie's camera captured images of rooms and corridors that couldn't physically exist in this space. Sarah was the first to disappear. One moment she was swimming ahead of us through a corridor lined with those impossible stones, the next she was simply gone. No splash, no struggle, no final transmission. The water where she'd been swimming was empty, as if she'd never existed at all. Then Lisa, then Jamie. Now it's just me, floating in the darkness between worlds, writing these words on waterproof paper with a pencil that shouldn't work at this depth. My air ran out hours ago, or maybe days, but somehow I'm still breathing. The water tastes of copper and fear. The shadows have stopped circling. They're waiting, patient as stone, while something vast stirs in the depths below, something that's been sleeping in the space between spaces, dreaming of the surface world. I think I know why the symbols were carved as warnings. Because whatever built this place, whatever sleeps in these depths, it's been waiting. Waiting for enough visitors to feed it, to give it strength enough to rise. I can feel it stirring now, ancient and hungry. My headlamp flickers, dies, and in the absolute darkness, I finally understand what the Blackwater depths truly are. They're not depths at all. They're a mouth.